It's 14 minutes to 8 on Breakfast. Our guest this morning is the Federal Environment Minister Peter Garrett. Minister, you've now scrapped the home insulation program just straight away without warning, basically. You will bring in the renewable energy bonus, which you've mentioned. How will that work? How will that be different?
The renewable energy bonus, Fran, will be an engagement between the householder and Medicare. So it'll work to provide the householder with the direct action in terms of putting insulation in their homes and paying for it, and then subsequently being rebated. It'll require additional bonds on the part of installers who will have to meet significant registration requirements under the program, and it will also be informed by a third-party assessment as to appropriate design of rollout, including working with state authorities in this respect. I mean, the existence of this program and the delivery of insulation has always taken place on the basis of existing state regulatory arrangements, both occupational health and safety and workplace safety.
I think clearly the difference is that while those regulations are in place, the workforce hasn't been, and this sudden workforce has sprung up. It's clearly not been trained well enough. That's the problem here. Why would any householder now risk insulation in the future? Hasn't insulation got a very bad reputation right now?
Well, I don't think insulation should have a bad reputation, Fran. I think that the majority of installations that have taken place under this program by reputable installers have been safe and proper installations. We've been installing insulation a long time in this country. You can go to Bunnings this morning and pick up insulation at Bunnings, and you can go up into your roof and you can install it. It is a feature of the Australian building scene, but it is the case that our additional measures that we brought into place to deal with non-compliant installers still saw a small proportion who weren't willing to or prepared or deliberately breach the guidelines that we put in place. Now, I'd always said that I wasn't prepared to accept unacceptable levels of risk. We took that action in relation to the installers when we closed that program, and we will be absolutely focused on ensuring that when the delivery of the renewable energy bonus takes place, those parties that are delivering it have met the most stringent and highest levels of both authentication of their own capacities, quality assessment, the provision of a bond, and any other matters that are deemed relevant.
Okay, Minister, just one final issue before I let you go. The Prime Minister's made a firm commitment now to take Japan to the International Court of Justice if Japan doesn't agree to stop all whaling by November. This will be after the next election, almost certainly. The PM and yourself made similar promises before the last election. Why should anyone believe you this time around? What's been stopping you going earlier?
Well, Fran, when I went to the IWC meeting in Madeira last year, I brought forward a strong conservation agenda for Australia, including the reform matters that are in front of us now, particularly not to have whaling, so-called scientific whaling, continue. And a special process through the IWC was undertaken, the small support group to the working group, to wrestle those issues through. We've reached a point in terms of that diplomacy where what has been offered up to us is a matter of some concern that we want to consistently address through the process. We've laid out what we think the bottom line for Australia is in relation to this. The Prime Minister's been very clear that we will take an alternate proposal forward for consideration in this process. It will go through to the IWC support group. That's appropriate, given the intensive negotiation and diplomatic discussions that have been underway. But if we don't see the appropriate resolution of those issues, then we will move to legal action. So it's been an orderly process. It's been a process which is consistent with our responsibilities as an IWC member, but it's been a process which has always been underpinned by our strong opposition to so-called scientific whaling and commercial whaling, and our commitment that if we weren't able to resolve it through these measures, then court action would ensue.
Peter Garrett, thank you very much for your time.
Thanks, Fran.
Environment Minister Peter Garrett. It's 9 minutes to 8.